the Weeds podcast, where the headlines are finished, but the deep dives last. With Amber and Laura on the mic, you dig, we dig you deeper on the dive till the truth comes to light. On military broadcast radio, tune in to the strangest stories with a skeptical grin. Stranger things have happened, but it's all real life, like exhuming dead bodies in the middle of the night. Paranormal whispers in the back of the hall, mysteries in the shadows over nightfall. Laura throws sass with a snarky attack, and Amber's got the facts in the case file stacked. The headlines are wild like a gypsy rose thread. Everybody's talking, we go deeper instead. So buckle up tight if you're ready to proceed. The truth goes deep when you're into the weeds.
Into the Weeds with Amber and Laura on Military Broadcast Radio.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Into the Weeds podcast on Military Broadcast Radio. I'm Amber, and today I have 1980 Millennial Commentates with me.
Hey, Amber, and hey, chat. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I hope everybody's having a great Memorial weekend.
Yes, me too. It's been a little rainy here, but the sun's shining at the moment.
Yeah, it's been pretty good weather around here. Yesterday we got out. We couldn't get out on the bike or the motorcycle, but we're hoping maybe tomorrow we'll get out and do something.
Well, this has got my flowers going nuts.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I can't even remember what's in front of my house right now. Some kind of plant. Anyways. It's blooming and it's looking beautiful. Purple flowers and everything. Hey, Hikab.
Clematis. I saw it. Yes.
Oh, what is it?
I think it's a clematis.
Okay.
I remember what Laura sent me. Yep.
Yeah, I can't remember. So we've got Wivona, Fluffy Muffin, Fluffy Stingray, Hikab, Joy. Let's see.
Steph Scully. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, Toxic Barbie, Teffy, Sam, if I didn't say you already. It's good to see everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Hikab, I haven't seen you in a while, but I'm glad to see you here tonight. So before we get into everything, I have something to share. We have an official Memorial Day ceremony Sunday, May 24th at 12 noon. Meet keynote speaker Tom Hand, president of Americana Corner. It's in Fort Collins, Colorado. And let's see. Yeah. So Sunday, May 24th at noon. And so Alora forgot that it was Saturday. She's hanging out and having fun. So Millie decided that she would come up and join me. So thank you very much for that, Millie.
You're welcome.
Okay. Oh, and Joy's birthday was yesterday. So happy birthday again, Joy. And I hope you had a really great day yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday, Joy. I'm going to be shipping a painting out to her soon. She just bought a painting of mine. Yes.
Really? What kind?
The New Orleans lady that I did in a members only video recently.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. That's really awesome.
Increasing the little club. A lot of subscribers have my paintings now, including you.
Yep. That's really awesome. Okay, so let's pull up the documents. Okay, so if everybody remembers, we are into the transcript of the preliminary hearing of the court case or the murder trial against Harvey Templeton in the murder of Athena Hogan in 1986. And then I think this actually started in 1987. So we are at the testimony of Dr. Richard Boatsman, and we're just going to start reading it. And I don't know how long I'll be able to go because my throat's a little wonky today. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay. The court. Okay, Dr. Boatsman, I don't think you've been sworn. Whereupon witness Boatsman was duly sworn and the following proceedings were had to wit. Richard Boatsman, called as a witness on behalf of the state, having been first duly sworn, testified on his oath as follows to wit. By Mr. Tannery. State your name and occupation. Richard Boatsman, and I'm a physician. And also, do you have another job? My specialty is pathology, and I'm also the one of the medical examiners for Comanche County. Mr. Zelps. Your Honor, at this time, I'll stipulate that Dr. Boatsman is qualified pathologist and expert in the area that he is about to testify, highly qualified. Mr. Tannery, accepted. The court. Court accepts it also. Proceed. By Mr. Tannery. Dr. Boatsman, as part of your duties, do you do autopsies? Yes, sir. Did you have occasion to do an autopsy on Tina Marie Hogan on the 2nd day of October 1986? Yes, sir. Where was that at? That was at Memorial, Comanche County Memorial Hospital. That's the hospital I was born in. Approximately what time?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, started at about 9 o'clock in the morning. All right, sir. And was anyone assisting you at that time? Yes, sir, I had. Mr. Gary Jackson was assisting me, and there were other people in attendance. Okay. Were they law enforcement people? Yes, sir. The sheriff's department and the Lawton PD. Okay, and their purpose was? Primarily to obtain photographs and to obtain some material evidence, fingerprinting, etc. All right, sir. And in regard to that autopsy, do you have some pictures here? I want to show you a series of pictures beginning with 5, State's Exhibit 5 and State's Exhibit 6. Do you recognize the person in those exhibits? Yes, this is the child in question. Okay, and is this the one you performed the autopsy on? Yes, sir. All right, sir. Now, in addition to that, to those exhibits, I'm going to hand you 4 other exhibits, numbers 7, 8, 9, and 10, and ask you if those are depictions in the photographs of the same person that you performed the autopsy on in State's Exhibit 5 and 6. Yes, they are. All right, sir. Now we'll get back to those in a moment. When you begin your autopsy, you'll always begin with the physical examination, do you not? Yes, sir. And in this case, did you? Yes, sir. And what did your physical examination show? The child to me appeared to be a normal-looking 10 or 11-year-old, possibly 12-year-old girl. She had ligature marks, ligature bruises around both wrists, possibly around one ankle, and there were numerous bruises and patterned abrasions over her forehead and cheek and buttocks on both sides and right thigh. Okay. And are some of those abrasions and marks that you just have mentioned depicted in State's Exhibits 7, 8, 9, and 10? Yes, sir. Okay. Could you refer to those photographs, those exhibits, to tell us which ones you're talking about? Well, these photographs were emphasizing the lesions on the hips and buttocks, and also the right ankle. They don't illustrate the facial wounds very well, but they do exhibit the patterned abrasions on the cheek. Okay. Additionally, of course, there was a washcloth in the mouth, and there were areas of the white sticky material from adhesive tape on each cheek at 4 corners, such as I know that a bandage had been across her mouth, adhesive tape bandage. Okay. Let's go to that washcloth for a moment. How was it in her mouth? Well, it did not appear to be a full washcloth, like someone had torn a third or a fourth of a washcloth off. Had an even border, and it had been folded instead of just wadded up, and it filled the oral cavity, protruded a little bit, and was far enough back that I felt that it could press upward on the soft palate in the back and include the respiratory airway as well as the oral airway. Excuse me. Okay. And you said a moment ago that it appeared that there had been some type of adhesive material placed across the washcloth in her mouth. The white material with the sticky side of the tape. Okay, and where did that extend from? Well, it was just kind of upper and lower positions on each cheek, such as this. All right. Now, that was not present at the time that you saw her. It was present. The tape was not there. The tape was not present, but the marks, the residual sticky material was there. All right. In addition to the washcloth and the tape, that tape markings, were there any other obvious signs of trauma that you felt significant toward her death? Well, of course, mentioned the ligature marks on the wrist and okay, now what are those? Those are bruises in a band-like pattern that I think were made from something having been wrapped around the wrist of a binding material of some type. I'm going to hand you State's Exhibit number 12 and ask you whether or not that appears to be what you're talking about. That's an example. These were, of course, this is one wrist only, but these were present on both wrists, and a smaller, somewhat similar one also on the right ankle. Okay, leading you to, in your expert opinion, to believe that in regards to those marks, I believe that her hands were bound, wrists were bound. Okay, they were not at the time that you saw her? No, sir. Okay, now, of course, rigor mortis had set in at the time of the autopsy, had it not? Yes. Now, if I were to show you State's Exhibit number 13 for a moment and ask you if is it possible for you to make a determination from looking at the body in that photograph whether or not rigor mortis had set in that? No, not from looking at the body. I could not. You have to feel that. Okay, so you cannot say when the time of death did occur. Well, in regard to your history in this case, can you? Not precisely, but the fact that rigor mortis was complete suggests that she probably had been dead a minimum of, say, 8 to 12 hours minimum, okay? Because it was complete when I saw her, which was 9 o'clock or so in the morning. All right. Much later than these photographs were taken. All right, sir. If she would have been found in the same position with her arms where rigor mortis had fully been set in, and if she was found, for example, let's look at State's Exhibit number 15, was rigor mortis or were her arms and legs in any different pattern or shape at the autopsy than what these two exhibits depict? I cannot say for sure because I don't remember that well. I just remember that there was complete. I don't think that her legs were crossed like that, as best as I can recollect. Okay, generally, how long does it take before rigor starts setting in? If you're talking about mild weather on October 1st on 1986, it's actually fairly cool, and it depends on a lot of factors, but probably a minimum of perhaps 4 to 6 hours and a maximum of 12 to be complete. Okay. It starts in the upper part of the body and migrates down. All right, sir. Now let's get back to the physical examination of the wounds. She had marks on her hands. You've got looked like what appeared to be tape on her mouth, numerous abrasions, and they're all depicted in the photographs, correct? Yes, sir. To some degree or other. Sorry. I don't know why I said uh-oh. All right. After you did your physical examination, what did you do then? Well, simultaneous with that, of course, we did remove, she had a t-shirt and some socks on, and those were removed by Mr. Jackson and given to the law enforcement personnel that were there. Of course, all the photographs were taken, fingerprinting was done. Wasn't there a sheet also there? I don't recall that, okay? But I know that there was one. I just don't recall it, all right? Did you go into the body in your autopsy? After all of this was done and swabs were taken, and vagina and the rectum and the mouth for the sperm, and then I had a gynecological examination. Okay. Did you determine whether or not, in your opinion, there had been any sex? In my opinion, there had not been in the vagina. That's correct. Did you notice anything unusual about the vagina? No, I thought it was normal for all of a 11-year-old girl. How about the rectal area? It likewise showed no evidence of assault. Did you find any blood in it? There was a small amount of blood tinging, but it was the change that was present throughout all of the intestinal tract. Okay, I'm just gonna forward through this. You guys can read it on your own. Sorry,
Yeah, I don't blame you.
that
That's really heavy
yeah.
and invasive.
Yeah, and I remember when I first went to try and get a FOIA on her years ago. I remember being really afraid of seeing anything.
Yeah.
And so I remember thinking, well, if I do get anything like that, I'll just pass it off to somebody else and let them cover it. So thankfully I haven't seen anything, and that was bad enough. So
Yeah.
okay.
Just let me know when you want me to take a turn.
Yeah, you want to actually go at the cross-examination?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Give me just a second here. Let me get a sip of water.
Yeah. Thank you for hanging in with us, guys that are listening to this. I'm sorry that this is so heavy, but unfortunately, history is heavy. And in order to understand what happened here and why somebody was acquitted, we got to read it all. And
Yeah, cold cases are especially heavy because you don't get to justice in the end unless something comes of the coverage.
yeah, definitely. Hey, Tony.
Okay,
Good to
so
see you.
we're starting at cross-examination.
Yep.
Okay. By Mr. Zelbst, Dr. Boatsman, would any of the blows in and of themselves cause death? I doubt that any one and of itself would be a cause of death. Unconsciousness perhaps, but I doubt death. Was there bruising of the scalp? I mean the skull? Not the skull, but there was of the forehead above the eye and below the eye. Did those cause fractures? No, they did not. Could you determine what type of object possibly caused the bruising on the face, above the eye, and below the cheek? Not above the eye. The one above the cheek looked like it had been caused by something that had a flat or sharp edge, belt buckle or a board. I don't know, but it had a flat, smooth edge. One edge of it anyway. Possibly a board could have caused this. Something like that. How about a blackjack? I suppose. I don't really know. I noticed looking in those photographs on her backside, on her buttocks, there were some cut marks, quite a few cut marks. Now, let me ask you this. Were those marks, and I'm referring to photographs States Exhibit 8 and States Exhibit 7, were those marks caused prior to death or after death? Prior to death. Okay, and so those were inflicted upon her prior to her dying? Yes, sir. So there's one on there, there's a couple. There's one that's kind of like an X on there, isn't there? Two that are kind of like that. Two that are X's on each side of her buttocks. There's an X on both sides, isn't there? Well, there's an X on the back and an X on the right side. Okay. Are you able to determine if they are similar? Well, similar, yes. I mean, approximately the same size. What I'm trying to get at, doctor, is does it look like something that maybe the little girl fell on, or does it look like somebody took a pocket knife and cut X's on her? That's what I'm getting to. I don't think these came from a fall. No, sir. You think they were placed there by one means or another. Okay. I'm not sure cut is the correct word, but with the possibilities of an instrument, or how would the possibilities? I know there's probably infinite, but the most viable, what do you think caused those? I think they were made by something of very fine caliber, possibly a thin switch or perhaps a whip. It's not impossible that they were cut on there. Something fine like that. This is not a blunt type of injury like a belt or a fist or something like that.
Hold on. I just got a flashback. So on the street that I lived on Ferris, I lived at 1508 Ferris.
Mm-hmm.
Two houses down, I believe, from my house, there was an old man that lived there, and he had this big garden, and he had flowers that would kind of poke out of the gate and stuff like that. And I remember one day, now this is in the same town that Athena was murdered in, and this would have actually been around the same time. Wow, this is weird. Okay. So, this is really weird. Okay, so this guy that lived on the corner, he lived in a white house on the corner, older man and an older woman. He got mad at a bunch of us kids one day because we were picking some of his flowers that were going through his gate. And he thought,
Mm-hmm.
or at least he told our parents, that we were trying to get into his gate, and that's not what we were trying to do. And he actually chased us
Oh, wow.
from his house to my house up on my porch, and we ran into our house, but he chased us with a whip.
Oh, my God.
And he came to the front door with this whip and told my dad to let us outside so that he could whip us
Oh, my God.
with this whip. And my dad was like, "No, you're not going to freaking whip these kids." That's really weird.
Yeah.
I hadn't had that memory in a very long time.
Yeah, it's creepy that they said when they said a knife, he was like, "Oh, maybe a whip, blah blah blah," or it could be a knife.
That's
But
so
whip seemed to be like the first thing out of their mouth.
that's so weird. Because I read this before and I didn't even have that memory. But as we're sitting here going through it, I remember this old guy, and it was like 4 or 5 of us kids. And yeah, he chased us with a whip and tried to get my dad to let all of us kids outside so that we could get whipped with this whip.
That's creepy.
Huh. I don't even remember his name, but I remember I was scared of him for the rest of my life because he lived in that house until I went into the army.
Oh wow.
So, and that when that incident happened, I was about 7 or 8, and Athena died when I was 7.
Dang, same time period.
That's very strange. Okay. I talk to my cousin all the time, the one that's in prison, Shelly,
Uh-huh.
and she'll have me send her different pictures of houses that she grew up in or lived in, and she'll say that when she looks at them, she'll have all these triggered memories, and it's actually helping her process a lot of things.
Mhm.
And wow, I genuinely have not thought about that memory in so long. But I remember being so scared of that man my entire life. And I walked to and from school, and I would have to walk past his house, and I always crossed the street usually before I got there.
Might be something to look into a little deeper.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Was there evidence of whipping? Well, if there was, this would be it. Okay, any other evidence other than that? Not other than that, no, sir. I noticed on the ankle that you somewhat conditioned that. Are you on the right ankle? There looked like a bruise, but you weren't quite sure if that was a. Are you? Do you think there was some type of cord that was tied or could possibly come from some other source? Well, I'm not hesitant that it's a bruise, right? That definitely is a bruise, but I don't know that it was caused by a cord because it's not complete and I don't know what kind of footwear she had. She might have had a tennis shoe that had a lace around there, for example. Okay, I'm just not sure of that. The wrist, I am confident about that though. Thank you, doctor. Mr. Zelbst, that's all the questions I have. Mr. Tannery, nothing further. The court, okay, doctor, you're excused. You're familiar with the rule, it's in effect. Call your next witness. Off the record. A short time later, the following proceedings were had to wit. The court, step up here, please, and you've already been sworn, right? Witness Robert Taylor, yes. The court,
Okay.
okay, have a
Um,
seat.
sorry. This is actually
You're
the
good.
guy that my family knew. So Robert Taylor is the guy that found Athena, and he's the guy. His brother, his younger brother David, was my cousin's boyfriend at one time, and it was right at about that time, and they had just broken up. But I had walked all over Robert Taylor's car and been in Robert Taylor's car, like playing hide and go seek and all kinds of stuff. So, so this is who Robert Taylor is.
Oh, wow,
Because
and he is the guy who found her body?
yeah, because I think David would borrow Robert's car or something
Uh-huh.
like that. That's the only reasoning I can think that his car was even parked in front of my grandma's house. For me to do that. But I remember the moment that I found out that Robert had been arrested for her murder. I remember feeling like I was going to go to prison because they had told me that he got arrested because of those footprints and I thought they were mine. So this is Robert Taylor, and I have not read this far yet. I quit reading after this or right at this, because I wasn't ready to read it yet. So I'm going to process all this with you guys.
All right, well, here we go.
Okay.
Witness Robert Taylor, yes. The court, okay, have a seat. Mr. Tannery, we have a lawyer that wants to approach the bench. The court, yes, sir. Mr. Mike Miller. The judge, I represent Mr. Taylor. He has previously been charged in this same homicide. Mr. Zelps, 587. Mr. Miller, I've had some discussion with the district attorney about my concern for the need for my client to remain silent in this matter and to evoke the Fifth Amendment. Because in my conversations with Mr. Taylor, he'd rather appear and testify, and I believe Mr. Tanner is prepared to make an announcement at this point on the record as to my client. Mr. Tannery, well, we would announce at this time that to him and his attorney that he is not a suspect in this case any longer. Case was dismissed against him because of lack of evidence that was provided, and he's not even being investigated as far as I know at this time. Mr. Miller, okay, that's all I have, Judge. The court, you're welcome to sit at counsel table until your client finishes testifying if you like. Mr. Miller, appreciate that. Thank you. Robert Taylor, called as a witness on behalf of the state, having been first duly sworn, testified on his oath as follows, to wit, direct examination by Mr. Tannery. State your name, please. Robert Taylor. And where do you live? Back on the evening of October 1st, 1986, did you have occasion to leave your home? I wasn't at home, but okay, around 9 o'clock that night, did you have occasion to go out on Rogers Lane and 82nd Street in the city of Lawton, Comanche, state of Oklahoma? Yes, I did. Okay, did you see anything unusual out there? Yes, I saw what I believe to be a dead body. All right, where was it located? On the north side of the paved road, 80 or Rogers Lane, as it continues past 82nd. All right. And when you saw what you believed to be a dead body, what actions did you take at the time? I left immediately. I panicked and left. I went to go find a phone, call the police. Okay. And did you call the police? Yes, I did. And after, what did you tell the police? Told them that I had seen what I thought to be a dead body. I didn't know it could have been a mannequin, but all right. Did you go back to the scene of where you'd seen what you thought was a dead body at the time? I eventually did. I didn't intend to, but I was waiting for a call back from the police to let me know whether or not it was a body. Okay. And I didn't receive one. I called the police and they said that there were officers at the scene. They hadn't found an item. And so I said I'd be right there. Did you go out there? Yes. Were there officers there when you arrived back the second time? Yes. As I was arriving, I got within about 40 yards of the intersection, and a cruiser turned on its blue and red lights, and I knew that it had found whatever. Okay. Did you get out and go back down there to the scene? No. Not at that time? No. The first time, did you get out of your car and look at the body, or did you stay in your car? I stayed in my car. All right. How good of a look did you get? I didn't hang around. Sorry, I had a
Sorry.
timer for my potatoes. Let me make sure that's turned off.
Did you
There we
hear
go.
that 1970s?
Right. He's got to take care of my potatoes. Okay. I didn't hang around for many details. What do you remember? So far, all you've said is a dead body. What do you remember? Male, female, grown up, kid, what? Well, first time I saw the body, I didn't actually perceive it as a body. I was cruising along. I was about to stop, and from my peripheral vision, what was that? I jammed on my brakes and backed up, and I looked. I couldn't see very well because the light, my car was facing this direction. In order for me to be close enough to try to identify the object, it was right like over there. And anyway, I didn't make out a head. You were driving which direction at the time? Let's see. I was driving west. Okay, westbound on Rogers Lane on the dirt part. Uh-huh. Okay, and you stopped, and so you would have looked out your passenger side. Well, I looked out. Okay, you stopped. The passenger side of the front windshield. I drive a Volkswagen. Okay, so it's low to the ground. Yes. Do your lights shine very far off the road? No. Okay, so it was sort of over your hood and over your fenders? Yes. All right. And do you remember anything distinguishing about it, such as clothing or anything? No, no, I was just panicked. I'd never been to a funeral before, so whenever I felt that it was either a dead body or a very lifelike looking mannequin, I left. Okay, at that time, did it appear like this body that you described was over in the weeds or on the side of the road or on the road where? I think it was more on the road than in the weeds. Okay. Do you remember anything about which direction the head was facing or whatever? I made out the knees. That was the thing that led me to believe it was a body. Was that I could see the contour of the knees from the head facing towards 82nd Street. Oh God. I'm going to hand you what was previously marked as State Exhibits 15. Look at that for a moment. I don't know whether you can identify or not, but does that appear to be familiar to you? That's what is depicted in that exhibit. That's the girl's dead body. What in that appears within your recollection of what you saw? The knees. Okay. How about the location on the road? I really couldn't tell one way or another. No, I don't remember those weeds standing up like that. Okay, do you remember which? This would have been on the north side of the Rogers Lane? Yes. And I think you already asked this. All right, I stated it. Do you know what county and what state road is located in that particular location? To the best of my knowledge, that's Comanche County, state of Oklahoma. Oklahoma. Okay, Mr. Tannery. That's all I have for this witness. The court. Mr. Zelbst. Mr. Zelbst, may I approach, Your Honor? The court. Mr. Zelbst. Judge, I anticipate that this is going to take longer than 15 minutes on him, and I have no problem with starting now, but I will request just tonight particularly that we recess at 5 o'clock. I've got kind of a bind on time. I don't know if we want to start on him in the morning or the court. Just go ahead and start now, and when you get ready to quit, let me know, and we'll have him come back in the morning. And then we go to cross-examination. Do you mind to take a turn, Amber? I'll listen in while I handle my potatoes.
Yeah, hold on. Let me take a drink real quick.
No problem.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging in. Oh, Joyce says, I'm having iced coffee in my new stainless cup. Good. I hope you like it. I hope
That
it's
sounds
actually
good.
good quality because the sweatshirts we got were great quality from that company. Okay, so here we go. By Mr. Zelps. Your full name is Robert Taylor. Is that correct, Mr. Taylor? Yes. My name is John Zelps. This is Mr. Max Cook. Are you employed at this time? No. Are you in school? Yes. You go to school at Cameron, don't you? Yes. What's your classification out there? Senior. Senior, and what are you studying? Psychology. Psychology, okay. How old are you, sir? 25. 25 years old. Have you been in the service? Yes, I have. And what was your discharge? Honorable. How many years did you serve? 9 months and 14 days. I didn't know that he was in the military. Why were you discharged early? I was not physically qualified for my classification. Rather than being reclassified, they felt that I was not physically qualified for combat duty. I have eczema on my hands. You have, pardon me? Eczema. Eczema on my hands. You weren't discharged for any reason that you couldn't adjust to the military, were you? None at all. I was doing well. Where were you serving? Where were you doing your basic at? Orlando, Florida. What facility is that? Is this relevant? The court. I don't want to be a bother or anything, but I don't see how this could be relevant. The court. You just need to answer the questions. Witness Taylor. I understand. By Mr. Zelps. Mr. Taylor, where were you stationed at? Orlando, Florida. What was the name of the post or base? Service School Command Naval Training Center, Orlando. I used to go to the VA over there. You're in the Navy or the Marines? Navy. Okay. What year was that, sir? 1980. Where do you currently reside at? Okay. Have you ever been convicted of a misdemeanor crime against moral turpitude? Do you understand what that means? I've never been convicted of anything. Okay. On October 1st, 1986, let me ask you this. Who lives out there at 7929 Terrace Hills with you? I live there. My mother lives there. My younger brother lives there. And Jeannie Bennett, spelled phonetically, lives there. Jeannie Bennett, girl or boy, female. On October 1st, 1986 was a Wednesday, wasn't it? Yes. Did you go to school that day? Yes. Do you recall what your classes were that day? RPG programming in the morning. COBOL programming in the afternoon. Okay. What time did you go to class that day? Yes. What time was your latest class over with? At 2:30. 2:30. What did you do after 2:30 when the class was over? I don't remember. Let me ask you this, Mr. Taylor. Through your attorney, have you requested the district attorney to provide you immunity in this case? Has that ever been asked of the district attorney? It was by my lawyer, sir, and I thought it was a good idea. You thought it was a good idea? Sure. Okay. And have you also considered taking the Fifth Amendment to these questions that I'm about to ask you? I was provided that option and I was made aware that the option was available to me. Mr. Taylor, I'd like to tell the court today why, if you did nothing involved in this case, why you would need immunity. I'd like to know that right up front, right now. Why would you need immunity? I didn't know any of this, so this is interesting. Shouldn't be too hard to figure out. I've been charged, or I was charged, wasn't I? I was charged in this case. If you didn't do anything, why you need immunity, Mr. Taylor? Wouldn't you seek immunity? Mr. Zelps, Judge, I'm going to request him to answer my question. The court, you need to answer the question by Mr. Zelps. Would I seek it? This is Mr. Taylor. We can do it the long way or the short way, whatever you choose, sir. Now tell me why you, the court, wait just a minute here. We're going to do this my way, and my way is to cut out this garbage. Answer the question and you answer it. Or answer the question and you answer it. Okay. Witness Taylor, yes, sir. By Mr. Zelps, tell me, please, hold on. By Mr. Zelps, tell me, please, why you wanted to seek immunity. Because I did not want to have to go through the rest of my life with the threat of being able to be charged. I'd like to put it to rest. I was scared to death. Sir, there's a lot of evidence still hanging around that kind of points towards you, doesn't it? No, there is not. You work for them part-time. No, we don't have an hourly agreement. They have outstanding debts and I collect them. Okay, I asked you earlier if you were employed and you said no. I am unemployed. Okay. Were you employed on October 1st, 1986? Not formally. I was doing freelance work. If I produced, I was paid. Okay. Now, did you have to go out to the ARA rental and pick up a list or anything? No. Okay. You already had that, right? Yes. And I also, that date, yes, sir, the majority of what I was doing that day was servicing ARA rental accounts and servicing accounts for Truman Petty, who owns a company. I don't even know if it's still existing or not, but it's called Lawton Collection Agency. Okay, you're servicing accounts. That means you called on people to collect debts. Sure. Is that correct? Okay. Do you recall what neighborhoods you went into that day? Yes, I can. What neighborhood did you go into? I went into a bunch of them. Yes, sir. I went into the Ranch Oak neighborhood. All right. Went into the neighborhood just north of the mall and the police station. Okay. Whatever that's Columbia Square Apartments, I went to Shelter Creek. That's on the east side of town. Is that right? Way east. Yes. Let me ask you this. If you went up the turnpike on H.E. Bailey, you could turn on Rogers Lane and go to Shelter Creek. Is that correct? Hypothetically, yes. I wasn't on H.E. Bailey, though. How did you get there? Down Gore. You never went to H.E. Bailey to get there? No. Did you ever get on Rogers Lane? No. Back then, probably not, because Rogers Lane was pretty new, if I'm not mistaken. So it would have been very logical to go down Gore. And a lot of people don't get on the turnpike because every time you want to get off of the turnpike, you have to pay money. I just had to pay like $190 from our travels through Oklahoma the last couple of times. Okay. That's the road. You know how you go past Pioneer Park and it does a 90-degree turn and you'd be on. See, I'm not familiar with Pioneer Park. Did you go out there by the Sandpiper? No. You didn't? You weren't in that neighborhood? No. You would have the list of the names of the people that you were servicing in the accounts and their addresses. Truman Petty. Truman Petty. Is he in existence? Excuse me. Is he still around? Sure, should be, I think. You didn't know if his business is still in existence? He was on rocky roads, in my opinion. He was making some bad judgment as far as business goes. Dying to ask you that question, but I can't see how it's relevant. The court, I can't either, so. Mr. Zelps, yes, sir. By Mr. Zelps, Truman, how do you spell his last name? Petty. Truman Petty, here in Lawton, right? Uh-huh. And he would have a list of the names of the people that you saw that day. The collection cards should still be in his possession. The way the businesses are, you interested? The way the businesses are, you interested? Okay. Do you happen to know his address? No. Do you happen to know his phone number? Yes, I do. Okay, what is it? Okay. How would a fellow find him if he was looking for him? Just look in the phone book. His office at the time that I knew him was on 1716 Cash Road. 1716 Cash Road. That would have been near my mom's house and would have been near Cash Road Killing area. Interesting. Lawton Collection Agency. Lawton Collection Agency. Is there some reason you believe he's shut down now? No. And he should have a record. Let me ask you this. Do you have an independent record anywhere showing exactly who you called on? Yes, I do. And who would have that? Your attorney? I have it. You have it in your own possession? Sure. I keep extensive notes. You took extensive notes? Yeah, whenever as a collector of outstanding debts, and this may answer a question or two down the road. So I'd like to just tell you, as a collector of outstanding debts, I kept extensive notes. If I'm at someone's house at 4:22 p.m. and they're not there, I'll know I've tried to service this account at 4:22. They weren't there. I'll try back, somewhere in the neighborhood of after 7. You like to have things very detailed and very nice and neat? Is that your kind of personality? Like nice and neat, well-arranged things? Well, that's an ideal that I have. Excuse me. Welcome in, everybody that's joining us, that's coming in. Okay, Mr. Zelps, let me ask you, Judge, and I request the court to give me a little leeway. By Mr. Zelps, would you call yourself a nice, neat, tidy person? Like in your bedroom, is everything nice and neat and folded? Or is it kind of random, things thrown around? Well, it's organized. There's a method to the madness, but I keep my school books on the floor. But you keep your school books on the floor. Sure. Is your bed made every morning? You make your bed? 75%. Fold everything nice and neat? 75% of the time. It would be, sure. Okay, work out collecting these accounts. You got to Shelter Creek, but you never got around the Sandpiper, right? Never did. Did you ever collect any debts close to the Strip, on the Strip? No. North Fort Sill Boulevard? Approximately what time did you get home? Well, I didn't get home until I had seen the body. Tell me these debts you were collecting out on Rogers Lane, 82nd Street, that time of night. Jackson Brown. Jackson Brown, yes. Tell me where Jackson Brown's, that is not a debt. That was, listen, are you getting humorous now? No, Jackson Brown's a musician, isn't he? Yes, he is. I asked you whose debts you were trying to collect out there, and you said Jackson Brown. Are you trying to be humorous with us? Okay. I would say that was a slip of humor. Yes, sir. Okay. Now, Mr. Taylor, this is a very serious matter. Yes. It's serious for your life and it's serious for his life. You understand, don't you? I understand. Okay, let's be serious now. Where were you when it started getting dark that night? Best I can recollect, I was at 1716 Cash Road, and was anybody there? Yes. Who was there? A private process server and a private investigator named Edmund Trim. Ed Trim. Is Ed Trim still here in Lawton? I believe he lives in Cache. Okay. Would his name be in the phone book? I don't know. Have you ever seen him since then? No. Have you talked to him since then? Yes. Okay. Did you know Ed Trim? Through the Lawton Collection Agency. I'd known him for about 2 days. Okay, 2 days. Does he recall you being there? You checked that out? Uh-huh. Okay. Approximately what time was that, sir? He estimates between, whoa, 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 whoa. Now that would be hearsay. What do you estimate? Oh, I estimate just as he estimates. Okay, tell me what time you think you were there with him or when you left from that place. I think I left there at around between 8:30 and 8:45, 8:30 and 8:45. So it was dark then, wasn't it? Yes. Okay. And where were you going to when you left at 8:30, 8:40, 8:45, whatever time it was? Where were you going? 82nd and Rogers Lane. 82nd and Rogers Lane. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only thing at 82nd and Rogers Lane is some empty Fort Sill on the north, and there's a field on the east, and there's a field on the west. Is that correct? Fort Sill is on the north. That was my attraction. You're going to 82nd Street and Rogers Lane, right? Right. What were you doing out there to do? What were you going out there to do? Listen to the radio, watch the artillery flares as they hover over Fort Sill and illuminate that, and watch the convoys come in from the blackout area. Do you have an interest in the military? No, not particularly. Are you kind of one of those military freaks that like to slip around at night and sneak up on people? No.
What the hell? They call him a military freak? What on earth? Are you a
my
military
God.
freak?
Oh.
What kind of question is that? I don't mean to laugh in such a serious proceeding, but what on earth?
No, right? And so this makes more sense to me now because I had always heard that he was out there to go watch the flares and stuff like that. And my cousins and I used to sit on their property out next to Lake Latonka and watch the flares and all kinds of things. And we saw all kinds of crazy stuff. But
Well, I mean,
yeah.
when I lived in St. Louis near the Mississippi River, I used to go sit on the river banks in the park and watch the barges go by. Am I a barge freak?
Yeah. And it makes more sense because he's actually former military as well. So, and I didn't realize that. So, it would make more sense that he was more interested in that.
Yeah.
And he
That's
was
just a wild question.
yeah, and he was way, way out there in Lawton because at that time, nothing really existed out there. I mean, there was stuff out there, but it was way, way less populated than it is now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, are you are you kind of one of those military freaks that like to slip around at night and sneak up on people? No. Were you shooting flares out there that night? Yes. So we'd be able to check with Fort Sill and be able to determine that, wouldn't we? Absolutely. Have you done that yet? I haven't needed to. I was there. I saw the flares. Okay. You're parked. Which way is your car pointing? I was coming from the east, traveling toward the west. Okay. Did you stop at 82nd Street and Rogers Lane? Not until after I had seen something. Did you pass the intersection heading west? Yes. So you actually weren't going out to stop at 82nd and Rogers Lane, were you? Yeah. Well, you went on past the intersection, didn't you? I consider the whole area to be loosely defined 82nd and Rogers Lane. Where were you going to stop? About where I did stop. Okay. Now you stopped and you turned off your lights, did you? No. You didn't? No. Let me ask you this. Was there ever another girl who you flashed your lights at out there in a car? Flashed my lights at? Uh-huh. And she followed you to your mother's house? No. Oh, I see what you're saying. No, I wasn't there. I was traveling south on 82nd Street. And just a second, let's back up a second. You stopped out there on Rogers Lane, right? To watch the artillery show and listen to the radio, right? No, I didn't. You never stopped? I stopped after I saw the body backed up, saw it, and left. All right. Now, was the body north? Was it west? Was the body west of 82nd Street? Yes. How far? I couldn't give you an accurate estimation. How about a guess? I don't know, 30 yards. You were slowing down. Were you going to pull over there close by? Where were you slowing down? I had intended to stop. Tell me what kind of car you drove. Volkswagen. What color is that Volkswagen? Tan. What year is it? 1970. All the seats in it. No, all the seats are in it. Yes. Today, yes. How about on October 1st? Were all the seats in the Volkswagen? No. What seat was missing? Passenger seat. Passenger seat was missing. Have you ever read a book about Ted Bundy? Okay, so when I started thinking about this case again, right? Okay, remember I told you that I had played hide and seek in his car, and I kept trying to figure out, I was like, okay, what did that car look like? And I was like, okay, I know it was tan. And I was like, okay. And I know it was a VW Beetle. And I was like, a tan VW Beetle. And then I was like, oh, holy crap. That sounds like Ted Bundy.
Oh, no.
And so when he's asking this, I was like, oh my gosh.
Right?
Oh my goodness. Oh, because that's where my mind went the first time when I recollected, what that car looked like, when I was like, okay, Amber, what did that car look like? And I was like, no, was it really? Was it?
That's creepy.
Okay.
Oh, people are cracking up in the comments because I said I like to watch the barges, and they're like, millennial, are you spying on the barges from the foliage?
Oh, yeah.
You got to think about the foliage.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Have you ever read a book about Ted Bundy? No. You know he drove a Volkswagen, didn't you? I don't know. Did you ever hear that? Did you see the movie on television about? No. How come you had the seat out of that thing? Because the rails that the seat slides down on were all bent up, actually. The reason I had the seat out was because the seat rails, the floorboard was made out of an inferior metal. They were replacements. We had just put them in that summer. My seat had been out of the vehicle for at least 3 months before October 1st. Mr. Taylor made it easy to get things in and out of that Volkswagen without that seat in it, didn't it? Okay, wait. Mr. Taylor made it. Yeah, that's how he said it. Mr. Taylor made it easy to get things in and out of that Volkswagen without that seat in it, didn't it?
What a weird statement.
I know, right? He makes really weird statements.
Yeah.
There were no things I needed to get in and out. Did it make it easy to get in and out of that Volkswagen without that seat there? No, it didn't. It didn't. No. Was it easier to put things in the Volkswagen with the seat out of it? I could dump my books on the floor and they wouldn't fall out of the seat, but I can't really answer your question accurately because I've not had to get anything in my Volkswagen that would be hard to get in there. If someone gets in, they would sit down in the back seat. When they get out, it was very difficult. Had to lean forward, pop the door open, and then get out. Mr. Zelps, Your Honor, it's 5 o'clock. I'd request the court to recess at this time until tomorrow morning. The court, is that all right? Mr. Tannery, yes. I'm going to start this back up in the morning at 7:30. Mr. Taylor, you need to be back here ready to testify at 7:30 in the morning. And remember the rule that you're under not to discuss this case with anyone. Now you may discuss it with your lawyer and so forth if you desire, or either of these two gentlemen. Okay? Anything else? Mr. Zelps, no, Your Honor, there is a request I need to make. We do not want at this time, Your Honor, because of your reporter's vacation where she's going overseas. I have not prepared a written application to provide the transcript at the court's cost or the expense of the public. I'd make an oral application at this time, which I will follow up with a written application requesting that the start to be prepared as soon as possible because of the time issue here. And I don't think Jean can start it without a written order signed. But if I make this record, possibly she can if you order it. Okay. So that's just about all of that. Okay.
You want me to read the next one?
Yeah, let's go down here. Okay. Upon reconvening on December 5th, 1986.
You see where they're talking about a patio on the end of page 142?
On the document or on the PDF?
Yeah, what you were just reading there.
Right
You
here.
had a patio back there, faces towards Fort Sill. Anyway.
Wait, what did I miss?
What page were you on? I might have.
Okay, we're on 142. We're going to start at 142.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. 140. There's 142, 142A, and yeah. Weird. Okay, so 142. Upon reconvening on December 5th, 1986, the following proceedings were had to writ. The court, all right. This is a continuation of the preliminary hearing in CRF 86587, State of Oklahoma versus Harvey Lee Templeton. The appearances are the same as they were when we adjourned yesterday. Mr. Taylor, I'll remind you that you're still under oath. All right, Mr. Zelps, you can proceed. Question by Mr. Zelps. Mr. Taylor, I was wondering, I got to looking at my notes last night and you told us your address was out there at 7929 Terrace Hills, right? Yes. How far is the street right there from Rogers Lane? Couple blocks, I think. Couple blocks. Matter of fact, I went out there, looked around the neighborhood last night. Your house out there, the back of it faces Fort Sill, doesn't it? Yes. As a matter of fact, you've got a patio back there, faces right towards Fort Sill, don't you? Well, it faces my fence. Behind the fence is Fort Sill. That's what I mean. Faces toward your fence. Fence faces toward Fort Sill, doesn't it? Yes, sir. And I got to looking around out there and I noticed that it wasn't too far from Rogers Lane, is it? 2 blocks. 2 blocks. It's just a field across there, isn't it? It's another two rows of houses in a field, I believe. Now, if you have a clear view from your backyard to Fort Sill? No. What's blocking it? 2 rows of houses and a fence. Okay, well, I was thinking can't you see them flares from sitting in your patio in the backyard? No, you can't see them. I can't see them as they illuminate the hills. Can't see them as they illuminate the hills. Well, okay, let's talk about this. Did you talk to the police? After everything they got when they stopped you and you was out there, did you talk to the police? Eventually, I talked to the police. Okay, when did you talk to the police? I can't give you a specific time. All right, I could guess. Would it have been the same day, October 1st? Yes. Okay, and did the police ask you where you'd been and what you'd been doing that day? Yes. Okay, you recall which officer you talked to, which detective? Talked to just about all of them. Talked to Jacob's man. Okay, talked to Briley. And Wells. All right. Did they ask you if you went to school that day? Yes, they did. Did they ask you what time you got out of school? Yes, they did. Did they ask you what you did after school? Yes, they did. And what did you tell them? What did you tell the police officers that you did after school let out that day? I believe the information can be
I
requested
think
of them. I did not.
I think your internet's going wonky.
Oh, is it?
Is everybody else hearing that? I don't know if I'm the only one. It
I
started like
am.
being robotic and other things.
Oh, that happens to me sometimes when I'm recording and my internet's going wonky. Waiting to see what someone says in the chat.
Oh, fine here. Okay. Keep on reading then. You're good.
Okay. Sir, I'm not asking you about reviewing your notes or requesting anybody. I'm asking a question. What did you tell them? My answer is the best I can do is speculate because I have not reviewed my notes. Well, sir, what do you remember without reviewing your notes or anything? Yes, you do. Yes. What did you tell the police officers that you did? That's weird. It seems like they might have omitted something there
Yeah.
because the flow doesn't make sense. And then it goes to, what did you tell the police officers that you did? Mr. Tannery, Judge, I believe he's answered that he doesn't remember.
Yeah.
Mr. Zelps, Judge, I didn't hear that. The court, no, he hasn't answered. And Mr. Taylor, I'm quite bored of your battle of wits with Mr. Zelps. This will go much quicker if you'll just answer the question.
Yeah,
Witness Taylor.
it sounds like there's some stuff that's been omitted.
Yeah, it kind of does, but they're definitely sparring vociferously there. The court, no, not to the best of anything. You just give him the answer. Question by Mr. Zelps. What did you tell the police officers that you did from 2:30 on that day? Answer, basically, collect bills. Question, did you? Answer, I left school. I went to Tomlinson Junior High to talk to the principal about a possible fundraiser, supplying a rock band to raise funds.
That's
Question.
interesting because I believe that my cousin went to Tomlinson Junior High and she was dating his brother. So I wonder if that's the correlation there.
Interesting. You remember ever hear anything about scheduling bands?
Well, I mean, it was the 80s and it was a big thing. So bands were the thing then.
The lawyer says, now you're in the rock band business. And he says, no, I'm not. And they say, okay, what time were you there seeing the principal? Answer, I could estimate around 3 or so. Did the principal see you? Yes. He did. Who was the principal? Ellis Edwards.
Wait.
Ellis, you know that name?
He was my principal. He was my principal for a little while.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In elementary school. He actually gave me a paddling.
Oh, no. That's some 80s stuff.
Yeah. For not doing my math homework. Okay.
Oh, man. Okay, they say Ellis Edwards. Okay. Now we know you're at 3. What did you do after 3 o'clock? What did you tell the police officers that you did after 3 o'clock? When I left Tomlinson Junior High, I went to 1716 Cash Road Lawton Collection Agency. What time was it when you arrived there? About 3:20. 3:20. And who, if anybody, was there? Truman Petty and the 2 secretaries, possibly Jim Willard. Okay, now what time did you leave that location? This is what you told the police? Uh-huh. Okay, what time? Approximately. What time did you leave there? Approximately 3:45. Okay, and where did you go at 3:45? To the residence of It's in Columbia Square Apartments. You told the police that you went to Columbia Square Apartments? Unit E21. I can't think of the lady's name. Did you talk to her? No, she was avoiding me. So no one saw you at Columbia Square Apartments? Yes, someone did see me. Who? Someone who lives above E21. His name is Jojo. Did you tell the police that JoJo saw you? Yes, I did. I don't think they recorded that. In fact, I know they didn't. I requested them to. But you don't think they recorded it? I don't think so. Oh, okay. You saying the police just kind of take what they want and throw out the rest? Exactly. Oh man. I mean, I know that does happen sometimes, but it's wild that he's just saying that under oath.
Yeah, right.
Which one of those didn't record it? Which one of the officers? Detective Wells. Detective Wells told you JoJo saw you, right? Yes. What day did you tell him, Detective Wells, that? On the evening of October 1st, when I was being questioned. Who's JoJo? What's JoJo's name? I don't know his last name. I just know JoJo. What apartment does he live in? It's above E21. There are 2 units up there. What's the last time you've seen JoJo? I saw him that day and I saw him the day previously and I saw him that day. Seen him since that day? No. Do you know if JoJo's still around? I would imagine he is. Why would you imagine he is? I have no reason to believe that he's not. You have any reason to believe that he's left? No. So you don't get to see the lady, but you see a guy we don't know his last name named JoJo that lives above E1, right? E21, yes. E21. Anyone else out there? Sorry, I lost my place for a moment. My cat was jumping up here by me, Dave. Anybody else out there that you saw that afternoon? Huh? No one that I could name. Okay, where did you go after? Did you say anything to JoJo? I said, how are you doing, JoJo? Have you called JoJo? Is he an account? No. That you've worked? No. Where did you know JoJo from? He helped me locate the residence the day previously. Okay, how old a fellow is JoJo? I would estimate, oh my God, I would estimate between 12 and 16.
What?
Yeah, so this collector dude was working a child for contacts.
Okay.
That's sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hang on, let me put Dave out real quick. Just knocking things down.
He's having fun.
But yeah, it seems like this dude's working a child for collection contacts.
Mhm.
Okay, it says 12 to 16. Okay, now where did you go after you left? What time do you think you left Columbia Square Apartments, E21 out there? I was to meet her at 4. I estimate that I knocked and left about 4:05, 4:10. Okay, where did you go then? To the Beals Central Mall. Beals Central Mall. Did you tell the police officers this? Yes. What were you doing down at Beals at the Central Mall? Truman Petty had asked me to pick up a couple outstanding checks for him that he was to collect. And since I was going to be in the neighborhood, since you were going to be in the neighborhood, yeah, okay. Did you go to Beals? Yes. Pick up the checks? Yes. Who down there did you make contact with? I left a card with her. I didn't get one from her. I don't know. It's a person at the customer service desk. Just some person at customer service? Yes. Did you have those checks on you when the police visited with you that night? I believe I did. They were in my clipboard. Police looked at them. They looked at a number of checks I have. Detective Wells would probably remember those checks. Were they written to Beal's department store? There would have been 2 that were, mixed in with about 8 or 9 that were not. You told detective that you went to Beal's. Is that correct? Yes. Detective Wells? Yes. What time do you think that you left Beal's department store? I was there for maybe 5 minutes at the most. Okay. Can't remember the lady's name that you talked to? No. Have you been back down to Beal's department store since then? No, I haven't. So you don't know if she's there or not, right? No, I don't. Where did you go after you left Beal's department store? Believe I went to the DA's office. Did you tell the detectives that you went to the DA's office? Yes, I did. Okay, and who did you see at the DA's office? Referring to Mr. Tannery's office. Yes. Who did you see at the DA's office? Steve Crow, Pat Allen. Steve Crow and Pat Allen. And what were you visiting with Steve Crow and Pat Allen about? I was there to inquire how I could find information relating to a man in particular who had a case against him for not paying debts. Pat remembers you being there, I'm sure. I've not talked to her. I would imagine she would. How about Steve Crow? Does he remember? Yes. What time was it that you were at the district attorney's office? I would say anywhere from 4:15 to 4:30 to about 4:45 till 5 somewhere in that neighborhood. Okay, where did you go after you left the DA's office? Now hold it. Did you tell Detective Wells that you went up to the DA's office? Yes, I did. Told the other detectives that asked you and talked to you? Yes, I did. Okay, where did you go then? Went to 9 North and 7th Street. 9 North and 7th Street, is that correct? That is correct. Did you know the little girl was last seen at the corner of Woodbridge and 7th Street, North 7th Street? I don't believe that's anywhere in the vicinity, is it? Did you know that, sir? I didn't know that. You're on 9 North 7th Street, is that right? That is correct. Who lives there? I don't know her name. Did you see her? Didn't see her. Didn't see her. Didn't stop. Didn't stop. No one's seen. Now you're on North 7th Street, right? That is correct. For 1 block and then I turned. Do you want to hear this? I want to know what you told the detectives that you did. Sure. I told the detectives that I turned the street just north of Gore back to the east, went 1 block, and then I went to the residence of 311 West Gore. Who did you see at 311 West Gore? Someone who had written an outstanding check to Nichols Gulf. Did you see that person? Yes, I did. What's the name of that person? It's Donald or Gertrude, someone or other. Donald
That's a
or
big
Gertrude.
difference.
There's a really wide gulf there. Did you tell Detective Wells about that? Yes, I did. What time was it when you went there on Gore, 311 Gore? 5:15. All right. Seems accurate. 5:15. Where did you go to then? I left toward 4625 Gore. I stopped at ARA Reynolds. ARA Reynolds. Yes. You told Detective Wells this. Is that correct? That is correct. What time did you get out to the ARA Reynolds? Around 5:30. 5:30. Between 5:15 and 5:30. Who, if anybody, did you see out at the ARA Reynolds? Saw Thomas Strickland, the owner, the elder Strickland, the former owner, and Steve Strickland, Tom's younger brother. You told Detective Wells about that? I believe I did. You believe you did? Yes. Did he ask you, are you believing or did you do it? To the best of my knowledge, I told Detective Wells. I know that I told him, whether I told him that evening or the next day. Well, let me ask you this. Did he ask you what you did that night and you did not tell him? Did you forget that you went out to ARA Reynolds the first time you talked to him? No, I don't think so. Okay, shouldn't be. Did he ask you that night where you been? Yes. The first night? The first night. How long did you stay out there at ARA Reynolds? I would estimate around 30 minutes. Okay, talking shop or what? Seeking update for my account list, someone I later saw that evening and talking shop. Okay, and basically shooting the bull with the, now where did you tell Detective Wells that you went after you left the ARA Reynolds? 4625 West Gore. 4625 West Gore. I thought is that very close to the Reynolds? No. Well, I was mistaken. What address is ARA Reynolds? 2300 block of Gore. Out at 4600 Gore, who did you visit with out there? The resident was not home. Okay, who were you supposed to be seeing? Last name Kratky. Had 2 outstanding checks. All right, now where did you go after that? From there, I went home. You went home. All right. What time was it? Did you tell Detective Wells that you left ARA Reynolds? I don't know. What time, sir? I'll ask you then. Was it What time was it when you left Harry Reynolds? I would estimate between 5:30 and 5:45. You went and called on one house after that, is that correct? That's correct. Body was discovered at what time, sir? 9 o'clock. So you went home at 6 o'clock approximately, 5:45, around that time. Did you actually go to your house? Yes, I did. All right, who was there? My mother, my little brother, and Jeannie Bennett. Okay, then where did you go? Did you stay there? I made calls, serviced accounts by phone until approximately 6:15. 6:15, where did you go then? From there, I took my little brother to church. Okay, went inside, made arrangements for his transportation home. Why weren't you going to pick him up? Because I had accounts to service.
That would have been a
Account.
crappy job.
Oh my God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if he was strong arming people for him.
Yeah, because I remember helping my brother collect for the paper route. Oh my gosh, that sucked so bad.
I bet.
Oh, it was awful. Okay.
Accounts to service. Did you ever get a check or any of this for doing all this accounts work? No, I don't take checks. You ever taken any cash? Yes. They pay you regularly for your work. When I produce, I am paid. Okay, where did you go after you dropped your little brother off at the church house? 1000 and a half I Avenue. 1003 and a half I Avenue. Is that right? That is correct. And who were you looking for down there? I can't recall the name. Did you find them? No, consistently don't answer the door. Where else did you go after that? From there, I went up the street to, I believe it was 716 I Avenue, apartment 1. See anybody there? No, I didn't. I saw a man named Jerry there. You saw a man named Jerry? Yeah, come to think of it, I did. Excuse me. Who did you see there? His name is Jerry. I don't know his last name. He was working for a competitor of Truman Petty. Jerry is the competitor, huh? Yes. Okay, have any idea to tell us how to find Jerry, the competitor? Edmund Trim might know. Ed Trim might know. What did you and Jerry talk about? The business he was working for. Who was he working for, sir? Jim Willard. Pardon me. Jim Willard. Jim Willard. Okay, did you tell the detectives about this little meeting with Jerry, the competitor? I don't know whether I did or not. Detectives, Wells and all the other detectives, when they visited with you, did they tell you it was very important to be detailed about what you'd done that day? Yes, they did. They told you to take your time and answer all the questions, didn't they? They told me to answer questions. They told you, and you took your time and you answered the questions, didn't you? I would say that that is correct. Now, after seeing Jerry, the competitor, where did you go? Believe at that time I went out to Shelter Creek. Shelter Creek, east side of town, right? Yes, I went to Gore Boulevard, then went to Flower Mound and turned north. Yeah, it's real important that you, excuse me, when you went out to Shelter Creek, did you see anybody?
Hold on. Sorry, I just wanted to emphasize how opposite of the side of town Flower Mound is compared to 82nd and Rogers Lane. It's completely the opposite side of town. I mean,
Interesting.
it's almost as far as you can get, actually both ways.
Yeah, so it's not like he was going in like a reasonable route. Like he
Yeah.
was hitting up people from complete opposite sides of town.
Yes. I mean, literally, like Flower Mound is basically the end of Lawton towards the east, and 82nd and Rogers Lane is basically the end of town on the west.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, just a little notice, if you don't mind, I'm going to do about 20 more minutes with you and then dip out if that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's actually good because I'm actually hurting pretty bad. So
No worries.
do you want me to read now, or are you good?
Either way, you want to take a turn?
Sure. Okay, where were we at? Okay. When you went out to Shelter Creek, did you see anybody? No, I didn't, though I believe the man was home, and he might be able to confirm that I was there. Might be. Who are you? Who are you looking for in Shelter Creek? Last name Warner. Warner, 7225 Shelter Creek. Yes, sir. best friend in the world lives right across the street from that. Tyrone Muldown. Mr. Warner wasn't home. He didn't answer his door. Was his wife home? There was a light on upstairs. I don't know who was home. Have you ever been in that home? No, I haven't. Did you know the police did a thorough investigation and search through that home out there? No, I didn't. Didn't know that. Did you know that no one lived in that home for some time? No, I didn't. That was weird. So didn't he say that it, oh, okay. So it wasn't his best friend's house. Sorry. I accidentally mistook that. Okay. How many times had you been to that home? Once previously. Anybody home then? No. Person that lived across the street was home. He told me that no one had lived there in 6 months. Edmund Trim told me later that someone was living there, so I went back. You recall the fellow that might have visited with the first time? I could describe him. Please do. I don't know his name. He was about my height, maybe a little shorter, dark complected, graying hair, articulate, between 40 to 50 years old. Approximately how long was, when did that occur? The first time you went out there and said there's nobody been there for 6 months, possibly 2 weeks to a month previously. Okay. After you were out at the east side of town, not far from the Sandpiper over there, where did you go? That is incorrect. So he's trying to connect him close to the Sandpiper because the Sandpiper is next to where Athena lived. So that's why he's doing that. So it's not far from the Sandpiper. Where did you go, sir? After you left Shelter Creek. I left Shelter Creek and went south to Flower Mound to Gore, went west. Okay. I don't think you're going to tell me that you drove down through that neighborhood over there. But where did you go, sir? Where did you go? I went west on Gore to 2nd Street, turned north to the ice dock on the corner of 2nd and Dearborn. 2nd and Dearborn. You know that fellow that runs that down there is Sammy Morris? No. Who waited on you that night? I believe it was, I know it was a young kid, white or black, white kid. Has he waited on you before? I don't recall. I don't go there often. I believe his first name may have been Shannon, spelled phonetically. Shannon Ricky, spelled phonetically, possibly. How did you find that out? I assumed it because whenever I pulled through there was a bottom of a beer case only about that tall, and it was turned up and it had Shannon written across it. Got it. On a chair down there. Doesn't he sitting on a chair? Well, he might have. I don't know. Okay. If I take you down there, you think you'll recognize you? You think they'll recognize you? I have no idea. Having met once a couple of months ago, I would doubt it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. 2nd Street, that's the same street that runs into the H.E. Bailey that turns out there by the Sandpiper, doesn't it? It eventually does, yes. Okay. Where do you go after you, did you a can of beer there, or are we missing something? I got 2 cans of beer there, 2 cans of beer. And what did you do with those cans of beer? Well, I drank one of them. Okay. While you were there at the ice dock? No. When did you drink it? As you was driving around town? I had opened it after getting almost to my destination on Cash Road, 1716 Cash Road. 1716 Cash Road. Now, you have opened a beer while you're going out there? Correct. Uh-oh. Drinking and driving, right? Correct. Okay, now you get out to 1716, right? Yes, and it's approximately what time there then? I would estimate around between 7:30 and 7:45. Did you drink both those beers by the time you got there? No, just one of them. Hadn't quite drunk it. I'd gotten maybe 2 gulps out of it. 2 gulps? Did you carry it inside the store? No, we never entered the store. Trim and Jerry were already standing outside waiting for Petty, And since I had some money to turn over to Petty and some things to tell him, I just left it in my car and got out. I had conversation. How close were they to your car? Very close, sitting on it. Sitting on it. I noticed looking through some papers that you had a sleeping bag in that car, didn't you? That is correct. And had a poncho in that car, didn't you? No, it was a raincoat. Aviation. Raincoat. Where was the sleeping bag and that poncho located when you were out there at 16th and 17th and Cash Road? It was under my hood. It was under your hood? Wasn't in your car? Wasn't inside the car? Wasn't in the passenger space? No. It was under the hood. It's under the hood. That's the trunk, the bonnet, the boot, right? Yeah, it's the front of the car, right. And it's inside there. It's not inside the passengers. No, compartment. You say they were sitting on your car? Yes. You told Detective Wells that? He didn't ask. He didn't ask? No. He didn't ask you what you were doing out there while you was there? He didn't ask if anyone was sitting on my car. Did he ask you how close they got to your car? I don't believe so. Did he ask you if anybody got in the car? No, he didn't. How long did you visit with those boys there? From 30 minutes to an hour in between there. Did you ever get a receipt for money from them? No. Did you pay them any money? No. Did you keep the money that you'd collected? Yes. Was one of the guys one of the fellows you're supposed to be giving money to? No. Okay. Who were you giving the money to? Truman Petty. Wasn't Truman there? No. Ed Trim was there, right? Yes. Who else? Jerry. Jerry the competitor. Jerry the competitor? All right. All right. Still don't know his last name. Don't know his last name? Jerry the competitor. What's he doing up there? He was working for Jim Willard the day previously. What's he doing up? What's he doing up? That's right. What's he doing up there at the shop? He was at the time working for Truman Petty, come to think of it. Switch no longer the competitor, huh? That is correct. So it's Jerry the fellow employee now? Yes. Was he the fellow employee about 2 hours earlier when you saw him? That must have been the day previously. Getting your days mixed up? As I said, I've not reviewed my notes. Sir, you've known this hearing was coming for some time, have you not? And I am not on trial. Have you not known this hearing was coming up for some time? Yes, I have. Now, okay. We've got to start all back now because you're getting your days mixed up, aren't you? That's correct. All right, let's start again. Okay, the court. Now let's start again. Let's move along. By Mr. Zelps, when did you see that day and who did you see that day before? That day I must not have seen anyone at 716I. What was it? I believe 716I. 716I. Now there's no one that can prove where you were. And that was approximately what time? It was approximately 7, I would say. The only way I can really get a handle on the times is to say where I was then. What time? Well, was it after you'd been home and took your little brother to church? Yes. Now you've got nobody to say where you were until you show up at the ice dock. Is that right? If you can remember, that's correct. Really? Now, really, no one that will vouch for you for sure until you get to 17th and Cash Road at that business. That's correct. So now that's approximately from the time you left your little brother off at the church until you show up at the business on Cash Road. How long at a time had lapsed in there? Let's see. I showed up at the business at I left around 8:45, 8:30. So I would have shown up there around 7:30, 7:45. How much time had passed between when you let your little brother off at the church and when you got to the business on Cash Road? I let my little brother off and left the building at approximately 6:45. Yes, sir. And I arrived at Cash Road at approximately 7:30, 7:45, and that would be approximately 45 minutes to an hour. No one to vouch for where you were during that time. No one else. Huh. No one else. Did you tell all the detectives this? Yes. All right. Now you stay out there about another hour out at the business, right? Yes. Then you decide to go home, right? Yes. Did you drink any of that beer? After I'd gotten gas on 52nd and Rogers Lane? Yes, sir. Yes, I finished that beer. Okay. You let it sit there for an hour while you were talking to the boys and then you still drank it? Yes. How about the other beer? I opened it as I was traveling west on Rogers Lane after getting gas. That's not a good luck. Yeah, sorry. I guess we lost Millennial. That's all right, though. I'm probably going to call it pretty soon myself. Okay. I opened it as I was traveling west on Rogers Lane after getting gas. Now, you said you went to 52nd Street and Gore and filled up. Is that right? 52nd and Rogers Lane. 52nd and Rogers Lane. What kind of store is there? Kegel's. Kegel's. Then you were heading west, right? Yes, sir. That's interesting. I didn't know that there was another Kegel's because there was a Kegel's just a couple of blocks from my house, and that was my corner store that I used to walk to all the time. It's dark. Is that correct? Yes. Now, yesterday, when we left off, I was asking you about another car out there. Sir, isn't it true that you were driving very slowly on Rogers Lane? Another car? Let me ask you this. Isn't it true that you were driving very slowly in the proximity of 82nd and Rogers Lane? I kicked it in neutral at Rogers Lane. Yes or no, sir? Is it true or not? What do you define as very slowly? Whatever you think it is. I'm asking you a question. Yes or no? At the intersection of 82nd and Rogers Lane, I was traveling approximately 20 miles an hour. And did your speed decrease after that time? Did you get slower than 20 miles an hour? Yes. Down to what speed, sir? Eventually I stopped. Isn't it true, sir, that you had your lights off out there driving on Rogers Lane? No, it is not. Isn't it true, sir, that you flagged a car down traveling south on 82nd Street about 40 to 50 yards from the intersection? I did flag a car down. Sir, would your testimony be the same if she comes in this courtroom and says she saw you out there driving with your lights off? I would accuse her of lying. All right. You're going to find out one of these days. Now, you didn't tell us anything about the car, did you, yesterday when Mr. Tannery was asking you the questions? Mr. Tannery didn't ask me about a car. Yeah, I'm going to tell me about the lady. What's her name? Pam Condit. Pam what? Condit. Can you spell her last name for the court reporter and myself? Condit. And where does Pam live at, sir? She told me she lived in Terrace Hills. All right. How far were you? You know what? I was remembering Mr. Tannery was asking you what you saw and what you did. You said you went home, you called the police. You never did mention this lady, did you? I don't know. Huh. I don't recall. You don't recall to what happened yesterday? That is correct. How are you going to help us back on October 1st then? It's not my job to help you, sir. How are you going to hurt me? How are you going to hurt me back on October 1st if you can't remember? The court. Mr. Zelps, I'm not here to hurt you. The court. Let's move along with this. Mr. Zelps. Yes, sir. By Mr. Zelps. Now, Mr. Taylor, you can't remember what happened yesterday. Can you remember my last question? Yes. Okay. Where did you see her at exactly? Approximately 40 to 50 yards south of the intersection at 82nd and Rogers Lane. Okay. So she would have been on 82nd? All right. And you told us yesterday, I think that you estimated the body was what, 30 yards when presumed for an answer that it was, I speculated, you think, yeah, okay. You think that's what it was, 30 yards? Did you flag her down past the body? No, I was on 82nd Street. Okay. And where was she? She was on 82nd Street. She was coming east, right? Now she was coming north. She was coming north on 82nd Street. Yes, it's a north-south street. She was going north on 82nd. You were on Rogers Lane. Is that correct? Yes. Did she turn? No, that is not correct. What street were you on? I was on 82nd also. I was traveling south. You turned around? No, I proceeded in a homeward direction. 1 second. You say you were going down west down Rogers Lane, right? Yes. You passed 82nd Street, right? Yes. Yesterday you didn't. Okay. I'll stop in just a second. You see the body or what you think's a body 30 to 40 yards approximately, even though it's a guess, past 82nd and Rogers Lane, right? Yes. You slow down pretty slow, don't you? Yes. Okay. You're going slow before you saw the body, weren't you? I was coasting. You was coasting, but you weren't coasting with your lights out, right? That is correct. Now, where do you stop? I saw the body before I stopped, and I stopped, backed up to look to see if what I had seen was a body. It looked fairly lifelike. I panicked. I put it in reverse. Why did you panic? I've never been to a funeral. Why did you panic? Because I've never been to a funeral. I've never been in the presence of a dead body. Well, you didn't know if it was a mannequin or a body, is what you told us yesterday. That is correct. I didn't want to get out and check. Haven't you seen television, seen all them bodies on television? Oh my goodness. The court, Mr. Zelps. I have seen bodies on television. The court, Mr. Zelps. Mr. Zelps, yes, sir. The court has the power to conclude your cross-examination, and I'm just about ready to do it unless you get to something that's more relevant to this case. Mr. Zelps, yes, sir. Move right along. My throat's starting to hurt, so I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to try and find a good spot to stop. By Mr. Zelps, Mr. Taylor, now after you stopped out there, tell us, you're slowing down, you stopped, and you panicked. Now, what did you do when you panicked? I slowed down, I stopped, I put it in reverse, I looked. I was there for maybe 2 seconds taking a look, and I left. I put it in reverse, I went to, or I was already in reverse. All right, that's what I'm going to talk to you about. You put it in reverse, right? Uh-huh. Did you back up? Okay, let's see. Yeah, I don't think I'll actually be able to finish reading that because my throat is hurting. So we are on page 174. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on. Let me take this off screen. Okay, so thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Thank you, Millennial, for picking up the slack and helping me while Laura was out having a good time. And I hope that everybody has a great Memorial weekend. Laura and I will not be here next weekend because we are going to Vegas for CrimeCon. So we're really excited about that. I'm not sure what we're going to do or what we're going to experience, but we'll take lots of pictures and videos. And we will try our best to communicate or whatever. I'm going to take my equipment and we may do a surprise live. I don't know what we're going to be doing next Saturday. So it all depends. But I hope everybody has a really blessed Memorial Day weekend. Please remember our soldiers who are serving now and the ones that were sadly taken too early. And I pray that everybody just goes out and does something good to change the world for the better. Bye, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, Thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.